are three types of suffering. Of course, the first and foremost is the physical suffering, and the second is our psychological problems. But then the last, we do not count in modern sciences, the suffering is the suffering of a human condition itself. And nobody can help you on that. Let me first explain, therefore, the third type, the suffering of human condition as such. I'm a human and I cannot fly. I mean, I'm not talking about airplane, you know what I mean? I can't have the wings and just fly. When I was a young boy, I just was so convinced that if I run fast enough, then I could just fly. And I need to grow up to realize that that was not going to happen. So that's what I mean by mortality is a human condition, our biological condition. And so there number one, we need to have a philosophical recognition of what it means to be human. And to come to terms with that, I mean, it is so easy, and you will say, you know, like in America, it goes without saying, you don't need any philosophy to recognize I'm a human, but we know we don't recognize it. We don't accept our death ever. Just like I said, my friend in 72, he just purchased a new house in another continent and he wants to retire after, you know, he married like last time, maybe hopefully like 4 years ago. And then his wife is much younger. He wants to wait for his wife to retire and then after go to that continent, wherever it is, to, you know, spend his retirement life. And he's already having so many physical things. And I'm always tempted to say, how long do you think you are going to be here? You know, it's very rude thing to say that like that, you know, nobody can actually say such thing. So to come to terms with our humanity means accepting our genetic limitations. That is somehow we inherit diseases from our parents also, like diabetes. Accepting our mortality. That is the how to come in terms about the things that nobody can do anything about. How to embrace old age, aging. You know, I can't believe that I look like this. Oh my gosh, you know, I used to be so amazing. So how to come to terms with our aging, and so that is also one of the sufferings about which humans are unique, because dogs are not, you know, brooded when in thought. When you see dog is gloomy, you think like maybe he's worried about his old age, or, you know, no, they don't have that problem. We humans have that problem. I was like holding my neighbor's dog who died on my lap. You know, I couldn't stop crying. And she was dying before the death. My neighbor wanted I do some, you know, prayer for her dog. Poor lovely lady, you know, and I'm like, I have to do it for her. And I'm doing my chanting and the dog is looking at my face and I feel so crying because it's such a lovely dog. And then she starts crying, this dog starts crying. And you think, oh my gosh, the dog is in pain. The dog knows that she's about to die. No, she's crying because I am crying. You know, how silly of me that the dog is completely free from the you know, this enigma of death. And I am having this enigma of the dog dying. That is how to come to terms with our human limitations. Number two. And number that is the first problem. Instead of putting that the last, I'm putting that the first. Because when we have physical problems, we can't see, like when we lose eyesight or limping or whatever, physical problems, got cancer. Worse than cancer is the human conditioning. And Tantra as a philosophy teaches us about the continuous journey of life. And that is where number one, it will culminate. And then reversely coming to psychological problems, how to deal with our psychology. Many of our psychological issues are built in not recognizing the limitations of my body with other bodies. Other bodies meaning society, other bodies meaning family members, other bodies meaning partners. When I want too much from my partner, or when my partner wants too much from me, and we have problems. When my society demands too much from me, or when I demand too much from society, then we have problem. So many of our mental problems are not recognizing relationships, interrelatedness, and the limitations of how much of we are interlinked, interlocked, and interconnected. Our connections, nexus are broken, and how to keep those ties, nexus alive. That is where we have another problem. And then finally, for the body, our bodies, in mostly modern science, medical science in particular, is built in the notion of a complete separation of the mind and the body. But Tantra does not think that body is completely separated from the mind. Mind is the most refined, subtle aspect of your body, and body is the most expressed, the manifest form of your mind. Now, with this, you can re-engineer your physicality by mental suggestion. You must have read some stories about the bodybuilder, like some people who could never be a bodybuilder, and then keep telling you can do it, and then end up being bodybuilder. So it's like how the mind comes first in the body too, how we create our body. When you first tell your mind that you can look good only by being this much slim, and then you create your body accordingly. Therefore, your mind creates your body, not always your body creates your mind. So having the capacity of the mind to create your reality, your body. If your mind is so powerful to create your physicality, your mind is also infinitely powerful to create external reality. And the job of Tantra is to embrace it, not in negative way, but in a positive, constitutive, benevolent, intersubjective way, to recognize our innermost power that is divine in us.